Here, I want to guide on how we are going to move. So basically what's going to happen is that we are going to use a Z-Study platform and to use the Z-Study resources together with the Z-Study partners resources. So basically what you're seeing here is that I am in the Z-Study portal that allows me as a teacher to be able to access these resources provided by the school that I'm teaching these things that I'm sharing with you at. So I have a background in engineering, but also I am many things. And among those other many things is that I'm a teacher. I teach at Great North Road Academy, as you can see there. I'm using these tools at their provision like that. Great North Road Academy is one of those schools which is actually leading in adoption of educational technologies in Zambia. Now, there I teach a course we call Exploring the Future. So in that course, Exploring the Future, we fairly look at issues to do with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but we also look at robotics, we look at AI, we look at all these contemporary technologies to just ensure that the learners that the Great North Road Academy is producing are actually not just getting education, but they are getting a competence-based education. They are learners that the school is preparing for the modern society, and so that these learners could have a maximum benefit of the education they're acquiring from that particular institution, regardless of where they end up in life, whether they end up business people or whether they end up as people who go to work outside Zambia or they go to study in these prestigious universities. They would have already interacted with robots at their young age. They would have already been exposed to this modern contemporary technology such as quantum computing, and what a quantum computer is, and why is it important, why is a robot necessary, and things like that. So thank you to the Great North Road Academy to allow me to use the resources and that they acquired from Z-Study. So I'm in this portal. Now what would happen here is that it depends with what I'm teaching. If I'm teaching STEM, I would choose the STEM side here and do experiment in the virtual labs and all those things. But I'm teaching robotics in this particular case. So I'll click on here. So if I click on this robot, it's going to land me here. So when it lands me here, just by clicking, so if I'm here, I click here, like that, it's going to open a robot environment. Now this is a robot environment that we'll be using in order for us to teach and experiment and all that. So when I land here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on a new project. Now when I click on a new project, it will load like that. Now quickly here, I'll walk you through the interface. So if you have got a physical robot that you have in your school that you can hold with your hands, you can turn it on and just come and click here where it says connect to the robot, and you'll be able to connect to the robot. Everything that you do in this environment, you will see them happen in real time on a robot. But in this case, I do not have a robot as I'm teaching this at my own time. But if time allows, I'll be able to show you some of these robots when I'm at the Great North Road Academy. But in this particular case, to allow everyone to follow through, we are going to use a virtual robot environment. Now, if, as you noticed when you are teaching about competence-based education, we spoke about the environment setups. Is it a physical environment? Is it a virtual environment? Now, this is a virtual robot environment. Now, this is where you'll be clicking to start your robot to do what you have coded it or what you've programmed it to do. This is for you to stop it. Now, this is the starting point of the program, so we get that part. These are instructions here. They are in levels. There's level 1 there, okay? There's level 2, and there's also level 3. Now, in this particular case, we'll probably just give an example, level 1 as an example. So this side, we have a robot itself. This is a robot. So if I can tilt it like that, you could be able to see that we have a robot this particular side. So this will be a very interesting course because we are going to do a number of things. We'll introduce you to a number of concepts. Of course, based on the subjects that you already teach in school, such as mathematics and physics and biology, and English and all that. That's why we're going to base all this. So this is a robot. Now I can decide to change the color I can decide to change the color by clicking here. So this is the color of the marker, this marker that you saw there. I can click there and the color of the marker will change, because this marker is what will be helping us to draw whatever that we're doing. This is about the speed. Do you want the robot to move very faster or slow? This other one will allow you to, for instance, maximize this, zoom, and all that stuff. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to draw a very simple, we're going to come up with a very simple algorithm. Remember, the software that you feed into a robot or any digital machine, such as a processor or a computer, is called a firmware. For as long as it's going into the hardware, it's called a firmware. Now, that particular firmware will do the instructions that you have guided the machine to do step by step. So we are going to develop our first ever firmware in this particular course, so that you just have an idea of where we are going. But before we come to get into these details, we need to understand and have the theory. But I just want to show you the tool that we use so that you are expectant. So what you're saying here is that when play is hit, that's what you're seeing from this. When play is hit, what should happen? So the play is this. So we are going to come to hit this, and that is waiting for that command. So what you're going to do is that when that play is hit, what you want first of all is we want to set our marker. So we bring our marker, put it there. Now, when you put the marker there, you can click on it. Click. So this, I mean left click if you're using a mouse. So you click on it like that. Now, when you click on it, it's going to open in that particular manner. Now, when it opens in this particular manner, there are a few things that you probably need to be able to understand from here. So number one is that you see here, you have your marker down, which is the default state. The marker is down, meaning you have pressed your marker on the paper or manila paper, wherever you're writing on. Then we have the second one. The second one, it says the marker is up, meaning you are simply erasing. The third one is where you are just erasing like that. So in this particular case, we are interested for our marker to be down so that you can write something. Thank you. Then the next thing that you are going to do in this particular case, the next thing that you are going to do, sorry, I just changed that to level 2. The next thing that you are going to do there is that we want to say when the marker is set down, what do we want to do? We want to move a particular distance. Now, how long does that distance we want to move? We can click there and describe how long our distance. So in this case, you have said 16. We can change it by, just dragging this down, or we can say -16 or just 2 centimeters. But in this case, I'm okay with 16 centimeters. So after that, after we move that 16 centimeters, I want us to be able to turn right. Okay, so I'll put that there, and I'm going to turn right by 90 degrees. Then after that, I want to move again another 16 centimeters, and I want to turn again 90 degrees, like that. So I move 16, I turn right. So meaning I've moved 16 up, I turn right. Okay, now after I turn that right, I want to move again another 16, then I turn right, I move another 16. So I want to move another 16 centimeters like that. So in order for us to visualize what we are doing at that particular point, is we can press this button here, play. When you press that button, let's watch what's happening on the robot that side. Let's watch what's happening. So then it turns that 90, again it turns, that another 90, okay, and then it stops. So we can continue. So let's reset our robot like that. I would prefer to use that same rate. Now, when we do this, the next thing that we need to do is, I also again want to turn 90. Now when I turn 90 once more, I want to move another 60 centimeters. Okay, now when I do that, I would want to come here, okay, and maybe zoom on our robot a bit, but I think it's okay, we can be able to visualize it like that. The next thing is, let me hit play. I'll hit play. Let's see what's gonna happen. So we have that 60 centimeters, 1090 degrees, another 16 centimeters, 1090 degrees, another 16 centimeters, 1090 degrees, another 16 centimeters. Now we have drawn a square, but our square is hidden, so we want to move away. Now what we are going to do next is that to bring the marker, and this time around we want to lift it, so that we are not writing anything. So let's lift our marker there. After we do that, we want to move away by 16 centimeters. Want to move away by 16 centimeters in that particular manner. Let's reset. If all things okay, let's see what you're going to get. You press here again, here on this play button where my cursor is. So now we are drawing it in green. Not bad. That's 90 degrees. That's another 90 degrees. That's another 90 degrees. Okay. I've lifted the marker and I've walked away. So we have just drawn a square. Okay. We can draw a rectangle. We can draw a triangle. We can any shape that you want to talk about. You can be able to draw that particular shape. Okay. And we can even draw just a complex house plan, just using this robot, and it will be perfect because it will be able to replicate that particular work times and times again with very high repetitiveness, high accuracy, high precision, very, very high reproducibility. So that's what makes a robot more better there. So in this particular case, we'll end here. I was just trying to show you how we are going to move with this particular course. So we'll use this tool extensively in this course, and particularly in this particular section of this course for robotics and coding. So see you, and thank you so much.